Hey folks, welcome back to the Portable Gamer, welcome back to Farming Simulator 17, and welcome back to the Western Shore. We have been busy off camera. Where's a good place to start? Let's start here. Start with the map, as always. And also, somewhat off topic, I know I tend to sort of interchangeably use the terms growth stage and harvest stage. They are two very different things, so I apologize if that's a little bit confusing sometimes. Just one of those verbal tics. Something I'm working on. Right, our grass is second harvest stage. It is medium orange. I don't think the yield increases when it goes from medium orange to dark orange. And I know as of now, we can no longer apply fertilizer to this grass. So it's important that we get it in as soon as possible so we can begin growing grass for second cut. And also, we were out of food for our cows. So I mowed field 68 and 65. 68 I put up as hay bales, 65 I put up as silage bales. So we're good to go there. And then field 49, our wheat across the highway is still progressing. So those are these right here. Now I did some head math. We'll start walking up to where our equipment is. But I did some head math. We bought 8 hay bales and 8 silage bales, and they lasted us 5 days. Just to keep the math simple, we'll say there's 25 days in a season. There's actually 24. So 8 bales, 8 hay, 8 silage lasted us 20% of the year. So we need 4x, right? If that was 20%, we need to make 80% to get us through the rest of the year, and that would be 32 of each. One field gave us approximately 16 of each, so we need one more field each of hay and silage. And also, as we're passing through this little cow pasture, you can see in the top left corner, down at the bottom, it actually does say grass and cow pasture, 11,058 liters. So when you use the pasture mod, or when that is included in a map, you do get a little indicator of how much grass you have available for your cows. So, so we'll need to do 2 more fields, one of hay bales, one of silage bales. They're all approximately the same size, so we will get approximately, hopefully, 16 more of each one, and that will take us through at least until the 1st of next year. And between now and then, we'll have second cut, so we can put some bales up that as well. And then what's left over, we'll need to figure out what to do with that, and we will talk about that in a minute. I also found where our grain was located. It is in the Blackwell farm, which is at the western end of, let me turn this off. This orange and purple color combination has always been not easy on the eyes. So we'll come right down here. We are right here, the Bramble Lane farm. The Blackwell farm is right here. It was actually the first farm that I looked at. I just didn't see the pipe. And so I spent the next 90 minutes driving around the map looking for the grain. It was right there all along. Right, so we're going to head to the fields. I think the fields further down this little farm lane, and we will try to get those mowed. I say try to, because here's what's been going on. So this field to our right, this is field 6-8, and it is the entire map has a terrain contour, so there's no real flat place. But this was the flattest field, or the field that we own with the least grade in it, and I figured let's start there because we'll be making round bales, right? And I don't want to be chasing them all over. So we started in this field, and with the configuration that we had when I started it, I've made some edits since then, but with the configuration that we had when we started this field, which was this tractor and this mower. The tractor is 150 horsepower. The mower requires 90, I believe. It took 2 hours to mow this field, 2 hours of real time, and our average speed was approximately 1 mile per hour. What was happening was we seemed to be picking up more resistance or having less traction than we should, and so gearbox was constantly going through that cycle that it goes through, where it ends up in too high a gear, it can't sustain it, so it tries to shift to a lower gear, we lose all of our momentum and have to start over. So that was not cool. And I tried all kinds of things. I tried implements that I knew were MR compatible, more realistic compatible. I saved out of the game and tried it without more realistic and gearbox. So with neither of those mods, everything was fine. With Gearbox, things were fine. With more realistic, things were fine. But the two together seem to be causing some problems. So there are two fixes for that as we clip through the tree. There are two fixes for that. Early days in this series, I got a tip from somebody saying you need to adjust the values in the tire traction XML in more realistic, which I have done, and we're going to try that right now. And another fix that I found was we can turn off Gearbox in-game. We don't need to save out of the game to do that. Now, the first time I tried that, my tractor went absolutely berserk, and I realized it was because I had turned off Gearbox while the engine was running. So a way around that, if our mods that we made, our modifications that we made, if the changes that we made to the MR file are not enough, then we can, to keep this video rolling, we can turn off Gearbox. We just need to do that carefully. Not gonna get it. We need to do that carefully by turning the engine of the tractor off first and then turning off Gearbox. Get it that time. Oh, just barely. Oh, just barely. This is a tight map. Oh, and we didn't quite get it. A little bit of a collision right there. Not a big deal. And we get through that way. Are we going to clip that post? Possibly. Oh, dear. Yep. Very tight map. And that was sort of... I think I just did a bit of an Austin Powers right there. I don't know if I actually changed the radius of the turn when I backed up there. So all of this, I guess, leads to the same... I don't know what we want to call it. The same goal. It's a tight map, but it's got a lot of steep hills. And with more realistic in Gearbox, which I really hope to continue using. I like both of those mods quite a bit. But what was happening was we were making the map so realistic, too realistic, that it almost became unrealistic. I can't imagine a farmer mowing a field at 1 mile per hour. That just seems inefficient. And oh dear. So we're going to bump this up a little bit, and we're going to... Yep. See how it all works. So the changes that I made, and I can... Here, I'll show you the file right there. It's called Tire Traction. It's in your more realistic mod. It's not in mod settings or anything. This is the actual mod itself. But the file is called Tire Traction, and the section that I messed with is right here. And let's see what kind of results we got. Turn that on. We're going to lower. Cruise control is set to 10 miles per hour. Let's see how we do. Certainly seems better. Now we're sort of on flat terrain. We're going to be going downhill a little bit. Let's see how we do when we go uphill. Much better than we were doing in Field 6-8. If anything, we're going a little too fast. Let's slow it down here. I do like these mods. I do want to continue using them. But we could not continue at those speeds. So, from what I'm seeing right now, the edits that we've made seem to be helping. We're going to be moving uphill here a little bit. Let's see how we do. If so, fairly minor edit. And it certainly seems to have made a big difference. Yeah, like I said, if anything, we're going a little bit too fast. Let's slow it down. Yeah, that's a better speed. And then we've got a hill right here. This will be our big test. All right, now, we were on cruise control, and cruise control can sometimes... This is better. Cruise control can sometimes keep Gearbox mod in too high a gear. Yeah, this is very frustrating. Yeah, it's crazy making. because you just have to, you can go 12 or 15 feet, and then you have to stop the tractor completely, shift it down to the lowest possible gear, and then begin moving again. What I need it to do, and what it will not do, is not upshift. Now we can go to manual, but because I don't have anything configured to manually change the gears and range, then we would essentially just put it in a gear and leave it in that gear, and that's not terribly realistic either. Now this seems to be holding right here. Seem to be doing okay. And this is, I have to say, I mean, this is a pretty steep grade, and this is not the newest tractor. This is okay, but for the entire field to be like this, that's too big an ask. It's so realistic, as I said before. It's so realistic, it's unrealistic. So let's get a couple headlands in here and see if we can find a nice sweet spot. Now what I can do is go back into the XML and change these values just a bit more. And I have to say, as frustrating as it was, as frustrating as Field 6-8 was, this is one of my favorite parts of this game. Because what we're doing is we're making our own version of Farm Sim here. We are modding the game. I mean, we're on a mod map, and we're modding the game. We're getting into stacked realism mods and various other things. And I'm going to try to, crop destruction is on, so I'm going to try to make this turnaround here in approximately the same area so we crush what was already crushed. There we go. And I'm actually going to drive up to the top of the hill with the mower up. You know what, why don't we just turn it off? Yeah, that gives us some more power. But essentially what we're doing is we're creating our own version of Farm Sim. In a way. And there's something very satisfying about making the game work the way you want it to. Making the mods that you want to work together. Making them work together. I find that very satisfying. Very challenging. It can be frustrating, but it's very satisfying when it works. Yeah, this is just a bit excessive, you know, and I won't make you sit through too much more of this, but this is, I did this for 2 hours in that field, and I was experimenting with various things and various settings within Gearbox, keeping it operating, you know, keeping it activated, but none of the changes that I tried really seemed to make any difference. And I think it's because the automatic function, the automatic transmission function of Gearbox is more than the Farm Sim base game code is capable of really dealing with. You know, the game's got pretty rudimentary physics, and you know, it's not exactly a set of Corsa. And so I think Mowgli wrote Gearbox add-on. The guy seems to know what he's doing. I don't question his competence, but I think it's just, as they say, too big an ask. And so, save game. And so I think we're sort of at the limit of what we can do with all these put together. I will try another edit in more realistic and see if we can get that any better, but it could be. I'm not giving up. I'll continue trying things, and I'll try some things off camera, but I think we may be just asking too much of these mods all stacked one on top of another. Would be nice, though. Would be nice. And gosh, I would love to see all these things in base game. I was under the impression that there would be some type of gearbox functionality, some type of transmission functionality in FS17, and it turned out they were running essentially a virtual CVT in all vehicles. That's fine. That's fine. Oh, and FS19 just updated today. By the way, today is, Thursday the 27th? 27th of February? And it did just update, so that's nice to see them continuing to work on the game, and we'll freeze it in place right there, and that will take us down to our lowest gear. But then as we begin moving up the hill, we shift to too high a gear, and the cycle just continues repeating. Crazy making. Absolutely crazy making. Let me get to a flat spot here by the gate. I'll turn gearbox off and show you the difference. if we can get to the gate. Oh, game. I like grinding. I like realistic, but this ain't realistic unless your tractor is very, very sick and in desperate need of some type of, you know, some type of something. Some kind of a way. Alright, so we go right here. We're going to lift this and turn it off. We're going to set the brake. Turn the engine off. Turn the engine off, I said. There we are. Okay. So now we turn gearbox off. Start the engine. Alright. Brake is off. Power that up. Lower. And here we go. Now we will still see, like right up here, going up this little grade right here. There's a lot of steep grades on this map, and more realistic is still active. So we are going to feel the weight and the power via the PTO. This I'm okay with. This is realistic, like I said a few minutes ago, and this is not the newest tractor. And so I'm expecting some slowdowns in a field, but I can't see, you know what I mean, repeatedly stopping. That just seems a little ridiculous. So we'll finish up this headland. Where are we at on time? I mean, we can keep going a bit. We can keep going a bit. And I am driving over my rows, I'm told. I'm told by a real farmer, it happens. You try to keep it to a minimum, and it's nothing that you do, you know, recreationally. You don't want to drive over your rows. You're not going to do it just for kicks. But sometimes it happens. There's nothing that can be done about it. So it goes. So it goes. So we will we'll get these done. You know what we could do? Where are we at? We're at 17 minutes. You know what we could do is we could we could rake this headland and then bale it and then start doing lengths. We won't do the lengths today, but that would be a way to get these rows that we've already mowed, get these out of the way so we're not driving over them at the end of every length. Yeah, we could do that. Okay. And then we'll mix it up a little bit within the video. You know what I mean? We won't just be mowing. Yeah, like right up there, we definitely slow down. And that's a combination of the steepness of the map and more realistic. We definitely slow down, but we don't have to stop over and over again. I'm curious if there is a setting that we can find within more realistic that will allow us to have both. Because I would really like to have both. But that could just be, you know, not in the cards. Not in the cards. Yeah. Let's go to the end of this one. We'll go grab our rake. Oh, dear. Nice side slip there. I'll take it. Oh, hey, you know what else we found out? Not really intentionally. You know, there's no place to put this other than right over here. We're going to have to crush a little bit more. Whoa! Easy, player. We're going to have to crush a little bit more grass. That is why I want to keep more realistic. I really like that sort of thing. All right. Yeah, that was working kind of hard. We'll let that run. Now, we have to get our rake through 2 gates. 2 narrow gates. Let me tie off one thought, and we'll move on to another. So, when we tried to use courseplay with the JCB and our little coon drill across the highway, it's more of a lane. Across the lane. We had some big problems. The engine was just going crazy every time we activated courseplay. That's the same thing that was happening when I was turning off gearbox while the engine was running even without courseplay. So I think the way to get around that is we turn off the engine, we deactivate gearbox, we turn the engine back on, and then we go to courseplay. And I believe at that point we will be able to use it, which is huge. We've got a lot of fields on this map. And we've got 3 tractors, so being able to use courseplay is definitely, that's something we want. So I think we solved that problem. We weren't trying to, but just in, you know, by experimenting and trying various things to get other things to work, we may have solved that problem as well. And what was the other thing that I was going to tell you? Have I completely forgotten it already? Yeah, I probably have. We'll go right in here. And we got a couple of gates. Oh, yeah. I just reminded myself. What I was thinking as I was struggling in field 6-8 with the mower, what I was thinking was, you know what? Screw it. Let's just get a 9R up here. Right? I'll show you. But there's several reasons that doesn't work. I'm trying to play realistically, not just in things like this, like moving through this gate. You know, I don't want to bang off the walls and bang off the posts. I'm trying to do this as I would in real life. We're trying to play realistically that way, but we're also trying to play realistically in the type of equipment that we would have, and you know how we would run this farm in real life. And I don't think we would have very many 400 or 500 horsepower tractors on this farm. And so if we wouldn't have those in real life, we wouldn't have them in game. And we bring in the additional complication of this being such a small, tight map. If we brought in giant equipment just to overcome the more realistic and gearbox problems, it would be difficult to get that equipment around. And it would be kind of a half-assed solution, right? I mean, the whole point of running more realistic and gearbox is we want to be challenged. We want to... we were hauling a load of water back to the farm. There was a hill that we couldn't get up. Okay, that could happen in real life. What would we do in real life? We'd go around. And so we did. And so I like those kinds of problems. In essence, we create those problems for ourselves just so we can find a way to solve them. And to me, that makes the game a lot of fun, really a lot of fun. And I think going to overpowered equipment or oversized equipment really takes me away from the spirit of playing realistically. We're not playing realistically at that point. We're I just had a thought. What if we pulled in here, back down this lane, right? And then when we came up the other way, we wouldn't have that gate to deal with. Because as we approach it from the top of the lane, that gate is sort of forcing us to turn to the left. Whereas if we come in this way, oh dear. Steering wheels on a trailer. Steering wheels on any trailer. ETS gets me all the time. I feel like they help me too much. Thank you, steering axle. Thank you for helping me. You don't have to help me. You're just messing me up. All right, so if we come in this way, is it any better? Yeah, it is, because we can, in this case, stay to the left. Oh, but there goes steering axle. Ah. Whoa. Go through there. And then, right? And then right through there. Oh, okay. The hell was I talking about? What's his name again? I don't even remember. Something, realism. We make these problems for ourselves, and then we have to solve them. So, yeah, that's half the fun. That's half the fun. Definitely slipping all over this hill. But... oh, that's interesting. When we turn off gearbox, it turns it off globally. I thought we were just turning it off per tractor. Interesting. Okay. Okay, not a big deal. And time, yeah, we may have just enough time to get up to the top of the farm again, grab our baler, bring it down here, and get a couple of bales made. That'll be 30 minutes and we'll call it. And I'll finish up this field off camera. So yeah, all in all, it's been a very productive day on the farm. Not just the farm itself, but sorting some of that stuff out. Some of the technical stuff, some of the XML stuff. Oh, and hey, if you're a part of this community, if you're part of the Farm Sim community, congratulate yourself on finding a really nice group of people to interact with. I put out a ping on the Simply Safe Mods Discord and got a response almost immediately and had a nice conversation and, you know, sort of figured it out. It's very cool. Very cool when people do that. And it seems like this community is particularly good at doing that. It's a lot of people that really enjoy this sim. And they really like to help other people as well. So I'm going to set the brake. I'm going to lift this. I'm going to close this gate like so. Right? Like so. Hop back in here. Brake is up. No. Pretty sure that tractor just started. But we have automatic start, stop, automatic engine start, stop turned off. It's curious. I wonder where that's coming from. It's got to be some mod or script or something overriding it. Right, so we turn that off. We're going to fold it. And where can we put this thing to have it out of the way? How about right next to the Ford? I know we're crushing a little crop. However, I'm told also, you don't destroy grass when you drive over it. You just squash it down. And then a few minutes later, it's fine. So we come over here now. This has cooled down. So we can turn this. Yeah. Interesting. Okay, so the vehicles are turning off now. When we turned off gearbox mod, the vehicles now turn off when you get out of them. Okay. And that is, I definitely have that set in the game settings. I definitely have that set to stay on. All right. All right, we'll figure it out. We're at 26 minutes, 27. Just enough time to get down here and make a bale. Perfect. And we still have, all this equipment is leased, by the way. So I will take all this back, and we are making, I want to say about 7,000 pounds a day from milk sales. So we're doing okay. Our loan is not huge. And I think we're going to make some profit. Maybe not this year, but next year I think we're going to be okay. That gate is open because our tedder is still in that field. Come right over here. Hop in the JCB. Like so. All right. Start that up. But when we got in, it didn't start the engine automatically. I don't know, man. I'm at a bit of a loss. Some mod, something is overwriting some other something. That's what's happening. So very carefully, right through here. Oh, we are slipping, spinning. Watch the tail whip. Just a bit. Bump off the post, not terribly. Stop right there. Brakes on. Come back this way. We're done in this field, so we'll close the gate. The other gate is open because we'll need to grab the tedder, but that field is done until we go in there to fertilize it. Here we go. Yeah, it's going to rain. That was the other reason I was really hot to get those fields in before it rained. Is I wanted to make sure we didn't run out of food for the cows. Now we could go buy food, but that would be, because you can't buy single bales in 17, you can only buy stacks of 8. That would be about 20 grand, which is like 3 days of milk sales. And it seems such a waste to do that when we have all this grass, right? 6 grass fields, and we're buying hay bales. That hardly seems economically smart. All right, you want to do the same thing? You know what? We could just go down to the road down here. Yeah, let's do this. Or even in the yard itself. Now we'll go down here. So we go out this way. Right? And then back here. I've never played this game with a wheel and pedals. And now they say it supports up to 4 controllers. And I've thought about just having my gamepad on my desk next to the the wheel and pedals. When we're in a vehicle, use the wheel and pedals, and gear shift, which would give us really the full functionality and intended purpose of gearbox add-on. But then keep, oh, donk. But then keep, just pretend you didn't see that. You didn't see nothing. I wasn't even here that day. So we would have wheel and pedals for when we're in the vehicle, and we would have gamepad right next to it for when we were not. Did I say keep the gearbox on the desk? I swear, man. I swear I'm losing it. All right, we're going to turn this on. Oh, it's already nearly full. 30 minutes. All right, we'll just do 1 or 2 bales. Drop that. And here we go. Whoa. Back that down a little bit. Back that down a little bit. All right, there's a bale. And that should be... Yep, that's a grass bale from our previous field. And then we're putting grass in on top of it. All right. And let's, yeah, I mean, we're at, what, 200 plus horsepower? This thing draws 150 or so. And we're at 3 miles per hour, foot to the floor. I like that. I like that. And I know More Realistic also makes a point of saying that when you're baling, the total weight of all the crop that is in the baler registers as weight. And I think some of those things are, I don't want to say missing, but perhaps simplified, I guess is a good way to say it. We have to drop this bale. We got no choice. Now let's see how far it rolls. All the way. That's how far it rolls. Some of those things I think are sort of simplified. And like I was saying earlier, base game physics is, you know, I saw a comment about that. It's got to be a couple of years ago. Somebody said something about, you know, changing the physics in Farm Sim, and the reply was, "Wait a minute, Farm Sim has physics?" So it is pretty rudimentary. So to add all those things, like the weight of the grass or the weight of the hay within a baler, I like those little details, but it really does make your life a little harder in a good way. Come right around here, and I'm obviously I'm just going to do this whole headland. If you hadn't picked up on that yet. Now all this Kuhn stuff, and the reason I'm using it is all, I know it all to be MR compatible. It's all, I believe, all DLC, all base game steerable vehicles. So all the base game tractors and implements, not implements, self-propelled sprayers and that sort of thing, they are all MR compatible. They all have the MR designation under them in the store, as do everything in the Kuhn pack, everything in the Ropa pack. I'm trying to think what the other one is. But yeah, any DLC is going to be MR compatible, and that's why we're using this stuff, just so we know that we're comparing apples to apples as we're trying to sort out these problems. Oh yeah, the bale made its way all the way down here, but it shouldn't roll through the hedge. I believe this map will have the, yeah, smart hedges. You know about smart hedges? So if you make a map with aggressive collisions, what I think of as aggressive collisions, every time you get a vehicle too close to a hedge, if you brush a branch or a leaf, it just stops the vehicle dead, and it's sort of not realistic. In real life, a tractor can move a branch, a small one. But if you disable collisions on things like hedges, then when you're on a map with a lot of hills, if you're round baling, your bales will roll across the field, through the hedge, and just keep going, and you'll never see them again. So, I think it may be actually Bullet Bill that came up with it. If I'm wrong, please correct me in the comments. But I think Bullet Bill came up with the smart hedge concept, where it's a hedge that does not snag your tractor at every turn, but it will stop rolling bales. one of those fixes, man. You sort of accept it as a fact of life, and then somebody says, well, hey, man, what if we did this? And they sort it out for you. So, this is the end of our headland. This is going to be the end of the episode. Yeah, we made some progress. We made some progress getting things sorted out. I do love this game. I do. Maybe a little too much. All right, up here. Somebody's blowing me up on Discord. I thought I had notifications turned off. All right, that goes there. And this goes right up here. There you have it. Beautiful. Lift that up. I'm going to leave that on there since we don't have any more grass to pick up. Gives us a little bit of latitude as far as where we drop it, where we put it down. I'm going to set the brake. We turn this off. Hop out here. Yeah. And come right over here. Just like that, folks. Thanks for stopping back to check out the Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Farming Simulator 17. This is the Western Shore. We'll see you next time. Take care now.